With Kathleen Kenedy apparently leaving Lucasfilm and finally releasing her grip of terror on the studio that George built, people are beginning to wonder who's next, who will take over leadership. Well, folks, we've got names you've never heard of, and it's because the media largely does not want to talk about who might really take over the house that George built. Today, we'll tell you who's likely to take the reins of Star Wars and whether or not they're also insane. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure indeed to have you with us today, coming to you from a studio in somewhere sunny USA. Thanks for stopping on by. Today, we've got a panel of excellence and in the know who's going to tell you who might be taking over Lucasfilm and what it means for the redemption arc we hope, we believe, could come true for Star Wars. Or does this turn into a tragedy? We'll break it down and show you right now. All right, let's go to it, folks. Take a look at this, what we've got right here. It is, it's a tier list of who we believe is most likely to take over at Lucasfilm. Now, from let's see if we can get these larger. Let's see if this works. That's larger. That's better. Okay. So let me run through these left to right, and let me tell you what I'm hearing, okay? So what I'm hearing, and we have been reaching out now for the past, 36 hours-ish to try to figure out what people in the know might say about what's happening. And what I am hearing is that Disney would be hesitant, and this plays true to me, and panel, you feel free to disagree or tell me where I'm wrong on it. But it's being suggested to me that Disney would be hesitant to replace Kathleen Kenedy straight up with just a man. And they would be very hesitant to replace Kathleen Kenedy with two dudes. What is being suggested to me is most likely right now is that either Lucasfilm goes into a two-person leadership scheme where a female representative runs the business side of things and a male figure runs the creative side of things, or they might even do a three-person under a very specific scenario where one person leads the business side and two people lead the creative side. We'll walk through that. First, though, let's go through the women. And as you're seeing these women, know that they're likely to be there because Disney is determined to find a woman to replace Kathleen Kenedy. All right, from left to right, here's who they are. Carrie Beck is on the far left. She's the executive vice president of live action for Lucasfilm. Then someone you may never have heard of, the woman second from the left, Linwin Brennan. You need to know this name, Linwin Brennan. She is the president and general manager of Lucasfilm. Emma Watts is our third lady there. She's the head of Paramount film division, and she is a name that has been bandied about big time when it comes to Lucasfilm. She might have to get out of a contract, but it could be doable. Hannah Magella, next up, is head of Netflix, feature animation and family live action. And then we have another name that is being pushed by some of the outlets out there. We'll talk about why in a few. Pippa Anderson is a brand new executive at Lucasfilm, and but she's not an executive over some of the things that you might expect. That rounds out the ladies. All right, so of the men, we have Dave Filoni. You all know him. He's the cartoon guy turned, story and lore exec over at Lucasfilm. Derek Hoffman is the brand new Lucasfilm head of development, and I think Lauren's going to have some things to say about that. Jon Favreau, of course, is next. You all know Jon Favreau. He's famous for more than just Elf. Kevin Feige, head of Marvel, but might be looking for a way out the door. We'll talk about that. Then we have the bad robot himself, the liaison of lens flares, Kevin Feige, followed up by Simon Kinberg, who is the newly acquired X-Men producer. And finally, the guy who has stumbled into a stalling of his career with Lucasfilm, James Mangold. All right, panel, let's begin with those who are probably not going to take the mantle as the head of Lucasfilm. Now, I don't know how you guys want to do this, but let's just run through the ones that I think are probably the least likely. And you argue, if you think that they deserve a higher spot, you tell me, okay? At this time, I see very little reason that James Mangold should be anywhere near the top of Lucasfilm. Anyone disagree with me on that?
Nope.
And remember, as we talk about these, we're not talking about them from the standpoint of what do we want? We're talking about logistically and realistically from Disney's viewpoint, would they put these people there? So anybody think James Mangold has a chance in Hades, a snowball's chance in Hades to be at the head of Lucasfilm?
No.
Okay. All right. We're going to drop him over here and probably not, unless someone can change my mind.
I think I'd switch him out with Peter Rice. I heard his name has been.
Let's no.
Wait a minute. Peter, are you saying Peter Rice, the one that Bob Chapek fired?
The one that Dana Walt
couldn't believe
threw an
myself,
anchor around?
Apparently, a Trade magazine is claiming that Peter Rice could be a potential candidate to replace Kathleen Kenedy at Lucasfilm. Wild.
You have got to be kidding me. Okay. Hang on a second. Can I add add a row above? No, that's not what I want. Hang on. We're going to fix this. This one's going to go down here. We're going to rename this. We're going to name this.
No.
Just no. Just no. All right. I don't have Peter Rice's picture right now. Folks, just imagine it's there.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So there's an invisible Peter Rice there. He's almost as invisible as he is at Disney. All right, let's move. Moving right along. All right, let's go to Simon Kinberg. He's the newly acquired X-Men producer. All right, let's start this way. Simon Kinberg, does he have a greater chance than James Mangold to take the helm of Lucasfilm?
Yes.
I would say so. Yes.
Okay. Does he deserve to be in the wild card? And if so, he wouldn't necessarily have to be the person who is the head of Lucasfilm business-wise. He might be the creative lead as a duality leadership team.
You're singing my song here because I have thoughts on this, and I think we need to be very careful about. We're talking about the leadership of Lucasfilm, not the creative folks. That's important to keep in mind.
All right, I'm dropping him in wild card, and now, Lauren, you explain to me if you believe he should be higher up in the most likely category.
No, I don't think so. I think wild card's the right place to put him, but I suspect Kinberg's going to be involved.
All right. Anybody else disagree with Kinberg in the wild card spot?
Yeah, I think there's room for him to be at least one of the heads of Lucasfilm, let's say under a 2-person or 3-person structure. So yeah, I think that's fair.
Can I just say that I think having a 2 or 3-person triumvirate or whatever they have is a terrible idea?
Oh, absolutely. But they don't have anybody they believe can. Well, they don't have a woman right now that I think they believe can do the creative side of this.
They don't have a woman creative anywhere close to Disney right now. Okay,
wait a minute. I'm going to take that back. There is one woman. Let's go ahead and just go to this then. If they're going to put a woman flat out over all of it, one person, one woman team, that would be Emma Watts. Am I wrong?
I agree.
With the success of Sonic the Hedgehog over the past few years, I think she probably has some of the best credentials out of everyone here outside of Favreau, of course, to actually lead this thing. Is she the right choice? Can't say that, but out of this whole group, I think she's one of the more competent ones.
I think she's the most likely, and part of that is because she is an outsider to Disney and Lucasfilm, which is something they need right now.
And here's the funny thing about this. So, folks, you may have noticed we've been pulling huge viewership covering the CBS debacle with them facing the FCC investigation, the Trump lawsuit. CBS News has gone off the rails. The only thing that's working at Paramount right now is Emma Watts. It's the box office, theatrical division. The streaming took a huge hit. That was just announced. So she might be ready to jump off Paramount. And I hate that for Paramount. I hate that they're in this spot. But they're not in a good spot, and she might be ready to jump ship before this gets into, the effort to sell it off to Skydance. Because where is she gonna go once that is owned by Skydance? They're gonna bring in their own people. So I think Emma Watts is the name that not many people know, but you need to keep an eye on her.
It's not the first time we've heard her name associated with Disney either. So this is not a new name to, being talked about for Disney positions. And she's one of 2 people that are being successful at Paramount. The other one is a guy who does all their TV shows for streaming.
Right.
But no, I agree. And as far as her credentials, they're very good. But can she do what you would have to do to run an entire studio like Lucasfilm? Because as you mentioned, you need shark repellent. I would hope that when she stepped into the job, she would disassociate people with their jobs on the way in.
Let's go from success to anti-success real quick. Let's just clear the deck as much as we can. Can we put JJ in Just Know with Peter Rice?
Yes.
Please, yes.
Agreed.
Put him lower.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I would honestly put Feige probably in the probably not or Just Know, for the reason that he's already been burned once by DEI hires. And I don't think that he would allow himself to go into that situation unless it was paired with what's her name? Watts at the top there. I think out of this list, if he was going to be paired with someone, she's the only one, because she actually has a modicum of success.
I'm going to say though that Feige is still more likely than Mangold. That fair?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
I would say
I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I'm gonna disagree with you about Abrams.
How so?
He has experience running a studio.
Yeah, badly.
Don't put that in Bobby.
Look, I'm not making any judgments about the quality of his output. I'm telling you that he has been extremely popular in Hollywood, and he has run a studio. And right now, if you're talking about leadership of a studio, he has experience doing that, where a lot of these people don't.
All right. Here's how we'll play this then. Hold a second.
Okay.
If you agree with Lauren, just put your hand up on the screen so we can see it. Anybody agree that JJ has a better chance than Just Know? Culture's still fiddling with his beard. Does that count? Is that a half vote?
No, I don't see. First of all, he left Disney with kind of a bad taste in the mouth. He doesn't have a stellar reputation. He's produced absolutely nothing for the holding deal that he had with Warner Brothers, or I guess first look deal he had with Warner Brothers. Nothing came of that. He kind of seems like an anchor. His wife is a giant disaster waiting to happen at any corporation. So tying yourself too closely to him is inviting further disaster, which Disney can't afford.
Inviting the apocalypse here. Do you think that he has less of a reputation than somebody like a Rian Johnson?
Rian Johnson will never show back up in Star Wars.
I actually thought about putting him on here just so we could put him down in the Just Know.
Yeah.
But, I was going to have to download both Rian Johnson and Peter Rice, and I just thought, I don't want to do that.
Plus, you would need the clip from Back to the Future. Inconceivable, and I don't think we have space for that.
Did you just say that was Back to the Future?
No,
it
it's
wasn't.
not Back to the Future.
No, it wasn't Back to the Future.
You know what? You get your movie straight, sir. You get your movie straight. You'll know when Chewie appears versus Andre the Giant. They're both tall, they're both furry, but they're not the same. How dare you?
I do have a movie reference, though.
If you consider failure experience.
Yes, failure experience indeed. In the case of J.J. Abrams, I'm just not sure
but Culture's mix of movies, it kind of is in the vein of J.J. Abrams.
Well,
Princess Bride.
That's a great save.
Princess Bride.
Just to help you keep it straight, Culture. Chewie is the one with the thick French accent.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that makes sense then.
All right, let's talk about Carrie Beck.
Actually, I can.
Carrie Beck is the executive VP of live action. I'm going to put Carrie Beck. I'm just going to go ahead and do this, and then you all, if you want to persuade me otherwise, I'm going to put her in probably not. She is a name that some people in our space are familiar with, and so they push her, but she does not do the kinds of things that would warrant moving her into the business leadership of Lucasfilm. Anybody who has a different position, share it with me now. I know she's well known for reasons that are odd, but she's not, I think, going to be the next head of Lucasfilm.
Well, they haven't had anything live action produced, at least in theaters, for the last 5 years or so, 6 years. Now,
Vash, what's the weakest thing right now at Lucasfilm?
I would say their film
Lucasfilm.
production division.
Live action, right?
Yeah.
Who's over live action?
I don't know if it's Carrie Beck. Then I would
It's
say
Carrie
probably
Beck.
not. You gotta remember, this is a multi-billion-dollar franchise here. Do we really want to necessarily put it in new hands? I don't think so. I think Disney was looking for somebody very experienced. If Kathleen Kenedy couldn't do it, and she was, on paper at least the most qualified, then you got to really question some of these picks here with lack of
On
experience.
paper.
I need
on
to
paper.
say I strongly object to even that statement. Even that
please.
qualifier on paper. She was not qualified ever. She was really good at standing around watching other men work, better men work. She was very good at bringing marginal coffee and having terrible ideas in meetings. And I'm not saying that. Steven Spielberg is saying that.
Oh,
And I'm saying from the perspective of an executive looking at this, they would have that opinion as in looks good on paper. For us here on the panel, we know exactly her qualifications.
Smells
Which
like
I
Teen
don't even know if she's
Spirit,
good enough to get the
Come on
coffee,
now.
to be honest with you.
All right.
Let's talk about the next lady down here, Linwin Brennan. Almost nobody knows who this lady is, and yet she is the president and general manager of Lucasfilm. So let me make an argument to you and see what you think about it. I think that if they decide at Disney to go with a 2-person or 3-person team, I think she is far and away their most likely candidate to replace Kathleen Kenedy and handle the administrative side of the studio. For that reason, I'm putting her with most likely, but also recognizing that if Emma Watts becomes the head of Lucasfilm, then it will not almost certainly go to Linwin Brennan.
No.
Any
that's-
disagreements there?
No.
That's exactly
Not to
correct
mention-
analysis.
Yeah.
Okay,
Not to
can I-
mention, I hate to make it so generic here, but she's a dark-haired girl who Kathleen Kennedy has worked very closely with. I mean, have you seen her trends?
It's very true.
Nolan,
Well,
that's the best observation I've heard.
I think the best thing about it from their standpoint is that nobody knows who she is, and I think that that's something that they want right now. They want somebody who can handle the business, not create any fuss, not any drama, not any headlines, somebody that nobody knows.
But but think of the pitch for her. Like, what is it? Like, hey, all of the success that we've had in the last several years. Yeah, she was there for all of it.
Sure, but I need to disabuse you guys of this notion. Take a look right now at Paramount, right? That's a company being run by 3 people. You do not need more people to run a company into the ground. Kathleen Kenedy did just fine by herself, and that was just a studio. So the idea of having more people running your incredibly important IP is not a good plan. It doesn't work well.
Totally agree, but I do think that there may be some merit in keeping the business side of things, meaning the books and all of that stuff and the trade agreements, separate from the creative side. Now, not to say that I think Kathy actually really has that much to do with the creative side, but she certainly can start or halt productions and provide notes until a project is put into oblivion.
But Lauren, by your argument, leave her where she is. She's got the perfect job. Leave her where she is. She can still run the business.
Let me give you guys an easy one.
All right.
This lady, Pippa Anderson, has been pushed hard for some reason over the last 24 hours by the trades. I have no idea why. She's a new executive at Lucasfilm. It's not over any area that has any kind of cachet with being in charge. She also seems to me to be outside of the age range they want for somebody that they're going to keep. She appears to be closer to retirement. I do not know why. I only have her on here because the trades keep talking about her. But that's it. That's the only reason. And all I can figure is they're just looking for more women they can name to balance out their articles. That's all I can figure. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe she's fantastic in a way that I just don't know. Maybe it's a blind spot. Does anyone know anything about Pippa Anderson that should make me want to put her anywhere else besides the least likely of all?
Doesn't she just oversee post-production? I don't. Why is she on this list?
She's the Victoria Alonso of Lucasfilm, but she just arrived.
It may be for exactly the reason that you just gave, which is that she's near to retirement age, so that gives her the ability to say, no, I don't want it, and they can say, okay, thank you very much. If their goal is to say, well, look, we have an equal number of women and men who are potentially in this category, if they want to fix things, maybe this gives them a way to have a man in there because a woman declined it, if that makes sense.
Not a bad thought. Hadn't thought of that. Any other discussions about Pippa? Not Peppa. Folks out there, don't you do that. Don't you do that.
I just want to suggest it's because she has the nickname Long Stockings.
You know, that's two inappropriate jokes in a row. We apologize to Miss Pippa.
I don't apologize.
All right, then, Pippa. No, I'm not going to do it. All right, let's go to one now that is going to be controversial. Favreau. Let's talk Favreau for a minute.
No.
Where are we going to put Favreau? Because here's the deal. I think that if Disney could get him, they would get him. I don't know that he wants to do this. And I think that he is incredibly wealthy. And he made a ton of money off the Lion King movie. He's had an illustrious career. I don't know that he wants this headache. And I don't know that Disney would give him the carte blanche kind of rule that he would need to do what he needs to do. Panel, what say you? Where should we put Jon Favreau?
If it was 5 years ago, I think he absolutely wanted it. But now, I think what Favreau liked was he shared a lot in common with Lucas in that he liked pushing the technology and playing with the toys and trying to make storytelling more efficient. He likes doing that. But I think that they kind of screwed up his plans, and I think that he's a good enough filmmaker that, like you said, he doesn't want to deal with the hassles of trying to fix something this broken. It's unfortunate. But, I mean, the other thing that would argue against him is, do any of us think that Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be a breakout hit?
No.
Then how are you going to position this? I hate to say it. But
I'll tell you what I think they're going to do, Lauren. I think they're going to throw the original trilogy characters in there, Luke, Leia, Han, somehow, some way, and pray that people will come back to see that.
Too little, too late.
You got to think though. Jon Favreau is the only guy who has produced anything of substance for Star Wars that has had any modicum of success. So I think Pro is right. They're courting him. But I mean, remember he walked away from the MCU very early on because of all the issues with that franchise, and so that was emerging. This is long after the ashes have smoldered here. So I think wild card is fair.
Anybody disagree with wild card and at the bottom of the wild card too?
That's the highest I would put him. He doesn't. Yeah. The way, like Lauren said, 5 years ago, maybe, but the way that he operates, from what we've seen of him, he's too, what's the word I'm looking for? Tunnel visioned, right? Like he focuses on this one thing. So I mean, if he was paired with someone so that he could just be the creative lead, and they fired Filoni, I think he would probably do it. Question is, would they be willing to fire Filoni, and would they give him permission to fire Filoni? So, because I think that there's a lot of tension between those two, from what we understand. So, so long as like Filoni is in the probably not,
we'll get to that in a moment. First, though, let's go to an easier call. I feel like we're on election night calling the battleground states. If we go to Hannah Minghella, who is head of Netflix feature animation and family live action, I don't know why she would take this job. I don't know why she would be interested in this job. I think that her name is being used because they simply don't have enough female candidates for their articles. I think she is, outside of the ridiculous stuff like Peter Rice or J.J. Abrams or round-headed Ryan Johnson, I think she's as close to just no, she is as far down and probably not. Culture, do you have a disagreement there? I know you have significant understanding of the people who work in Hollywood. Any disagreement with her position there?
No, I don't. I don't think she has a chance in the Hades because she's still too busy doing, her music scene. I mean, she was great in Hannah Montana. It was a great show, but she's so much better doing music and just being generally crazy. No, actually, to be fair, I don't expect so. And I think you're right. I mean, on your instinct on a lot of these ladies is that they're padding out this list, and she's just another woman they can throw at it. And I think you elucidated why that they have to show all these female candidates so they can just say we had a female candidate on the list. I mean, I feel like it's like picking a football coach at this point.
All right, guys, let's go to one that's going to be tough. Derek Hoffman is the head of Lucasfilm development. Oh, I'm sorry. We've already got Derek up there. Simon Kinberg. Let's go to Simon Kinberg. No, we've got Kinberg. Kinberg's up there. It's Hoffman. Sorry, I've been checking these off, and I thought I misplaced the check. All right, so let's go to Derek Hoffman. He's the head of Lucasfilm development. He is not necessarily super well known, but we're going to throw a wild card into this. This was brought to my attention by Lorne. Folks, take a look at this. Derek Hoffman, Vice President of Development over at Lucasfilm. Well, what if we scroll up on his page? And every one of these people at Lucasfilm leadership, they have a banner at the top of their profile, and every one of them is different. Let's scroll up for a moment. His banner says, "That boy is our last hope," and then circled, "No, there is another."
Now, to be fair, this was brought to my attention by one of our followers in the chat. This is Charles Henry. He noticed that. I missed it. But there's a couple of reasons why I think this is significant. One is that he's also a guy that I don't know a whole lot about, but he's been attached to an awful lot of the X-Men stuff. And apparently those people who do know him say that he was involved with the good X-Men stuff. And this also, it means he would have a relationship with Simon Kinberg. And so I think there's probably something there. There's another thing I want to call your attention to. Scroll down to the bottom of his bio.
All right, scrolling down, you tell me when to stop.
Right there. At Lucasfilm, Derek will help lead the team that develops our stories for adaptation in live action. So this points to what Carrie Beck's role would normally be, and also an adaptation is not original content. That's developing something that's already been developed. And that makes me wonder, is that part of turning the ship? Are they potentially thinking about finally throwing in the towel and saying, fine, we'll give you what you want?
All right. Well, that brings us to voting time. Now that you know this, I'm inclined to put Mr. Hoffman at the very top of the wild card category. I think there's something to this. He has a shot, and maybe he's the one who's being positioned to take over the creative side. And I'm going to tell you why I think that, and then you all dissuade me should you so choose. I think that Disney is losing confidence in Dave Filoni rapidly. And if they're not, the question is, well, why not? So who else would be taking over the creative side of things if Filoni can't do it? Hoffman.
I think Simon would be one notch above, only because he's got the name.
All right, let's vote on that. Who thinks that Simon Kinberg should be more likely than Hoffman at this point? All right, we've got one vote, two votes. Uh-oh. Looks like Hoffman shall stay where he is then.
That's fine.
And that brings us to the most controversial pick we're going to have. And that is the man in the cowboy hat. The guy who has a fetish with his own cartoon character and will not let her die. The man who only loves wolves, perhaps even more. Dave Filoni, the man in the cowboy hat. He is currently, we believe, basically running Lucasfilm. because we believe, we've heard Kathleen Kenedy essentially is not running Lucasfilm. So Dave Filoni has been in charge. He may be the fall guy. Dave Filoni, if Kathleen Kenedy is out, would likely expect that he gets the job. But panel, what say you? Where does Dave Filoni go?
Most likely. Hey, he's been hyped up for the longest time within Lucasfilm as the protege of George Lucas. And if they put him and they plug him in here, if things go south, they can fire him quick, and then they can be a little more hands-on. Maybe Iger could come in and be like, hey, we made pull a bit of a Chapek there. It's like, oh, this was a huge mistake. Need to move on, and I need to more personally oversee what is happening. I feel like he's just has, we had that whole promotion thing happen without a lot of people being aware of that, and it came from within. I think he's got a lot more power than we realize, and I think he's got a decent running. And I think one of the biggest reasons he can be in there is I think if they make him the head, he is almost a surefire to be plugged in with a female head to go alongside, because he's shown with his work in the past that he's not really going to put his foot down on some things. And he seems like he's probably the most to lose out of all of them, because we know Favreau, he'll be willing to step away if it's not right. I feel like Filoni's probably been dreaming of this day from the start. And I think he'll give, like Iger, whoever, all the compromises just to be in that position. He's going to give the least amount of resistance, and he's easily disposable if things go wrong. I think he's very likely.
The thing is, he's a TV guy, and he doesn't have the movie experience. He doesn't have the running a studio experience. I put him at probably not.
And everything that he's actually been in charge of that we've seen has failed.
See, I think they know that, though, which is why they would make him part of a 2-head, 3-head structure.
If there's a 2-person structure here or a 3-person, do you think he's grandfathered in as the creative head of Lucasfilm simply by the virtue that he currently is the head of creative at Lucasfilm?
I think the Mandalorian and Grogu will tell you that.
Oh, that's they may have to make a decision before it comes out. All right, so I'm going to put him somewhere, and you all tell me if I need to move him. I think he goes as the least of the most likelies, and the only reason I think he goes into most likely is because Disney may not know what to do with Lucasfilm, and they may just say, we're going to put a woman in charge of the business side of thing, and this guy's been in charge of the creative stuff for the past year, so he stays as the head of the creative stuff. I'm not advocating this in terms of who I would put at the head of Lucasfilm. I'd put Lorne in Star Wars Theory as the head of Lucasfilm. I'm just telling you that from Disney's standpoint, I think Dave Filoni is more likely than anybody else to be in charge of the creative side of things. But
Agreed.
I could be persuaded otherwise.
Yeah. They need an Oswald, so why not?
I don't like him up there, but he's up there, and he has a lot of creative output for Lucasfilm. I believe Bad Batch, the latest season, just did bigger numbers than Skeleton Crew. And we know how that all went. So I think, yes, his star is rapidly diminishing, but put him in a new role. I don't know. Maybe the company will be willing to do that.
Steve, you disagree? You like him there?
As the bottom of the most likely pile?
Yep.
Yeah, I'd put him more wild card, to be honest. Like top, so I'm fine with it, because I'd say top of the wild card or bottom of most likely. So
okay, Culture.
I'm satisfied.
Culture, what do you think? Culture, you're muted. We can't hear what you think.
Okay, well, I was trying not to be rude because I have a tendency to stink out loud. But speaking of stinking out loud, it'd be terrible. I want to put this guy in the just no pile. I think all of you are Looney Tunes.
We're trying to think like Disney, Culture. We're not trying to. This is not our advocating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is Looney Tunes.
If you look at his numbers, especially with, you just mentioned Bad Batch, that thing underperformed as much as Skeleton Crew. I don't think it showed up once in the top 10 at all of the Nielsen ratings.
But it was a whole lot cheaper, their Culture.
Yeah, but who of all of these people actually had a show that was Star Wars related show up in the top 10 of Nielsen ratings?
Well, that's a pretty good argument.
Technically, Dave Filoni with Mandalorian.
It's a pretty good argument. Hey,
Oh,
hey,
you're-
Lauren.
oh,
Lauren's been looking at me with disbelief. Lauren, you don't like where Filoni is either, do you?
I don't. I understand why that may be where he would land, but I really don't like it. That would make me very unhappy. But again, if we're talking business versus personal preference, I guess I could see it.
argument for him.
Well, I think there is, in the sense that he's the one public face for Lucasfilm that that says that this is our Star Wars guy. Because if you don't have somebody like that in some kind of a public position, then it looks entirely corporate and like you're just milking the franchise. And I think they want to have somebody there as kind of a public relations kind of a guy.
He's not, though. He's terrible.
Well, that's the thing, though. Culture. I mean, to us, yeah, he's not good for this, but for the corporate executive who's not in tune with the franchise.
He's been out front leading the DEI garbage. I mean, this is not the dude you want. I mean, he spoke to those nitwit women or whatever that conference was.
But he's been a good, corporate guy in terms of rolling over basically with every single decision.
He's a freak show wearing wolf stuff all the time. And,
right?
And he fetishizes a character that he as Pro said, he is not allowed to die. I mean, this is the same. All I'm saying is, whether or not it's something I believe or anybody else does, not only is likely the people that work with him losing faith in him. I mean, if you look at any of the stuff that he created and you tried to put it into live action, Ahsoka, garbage time. Like I feel like it's the Knicks versus somebody in the playoffs, and they're getting dunked on for the last 4 minutes of the game during garbage time, because the Knicks aren't going to put out their only 4 players that can actually play basketball. When they're already getting their butts kicked. This Dave Filoni's your garbage time pick, dude. You're going to put him out there. He's 3'2" tall. Everybody in the world can swat whatever he throws up at the hoop.
But if you're not a touch executive, like Lauren said, and you want to have somebody in there that they think, fans might like, that would be your pick. Go ahead, Lauren.
You get no argument from me, Culture. I'm not really arguing with you here. He completely lost me with Ahsoka. I hated Ahsoka, but I think there is some logic to the idea that we can put him in there as, hey guys, we're geeks too. Because remember, these people don't really know what
Let me go grab a skateboard to go throw over my shoulder. Hello.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And it also is a potential sacrificial pick if they need to put a cap in somebody. So I don't like the positioning, but I can understand how they would arrive at it. Particularly because he's also a token man. And if he doesn't work out, who do you think they're going to replace him with?
Okay, so here's my question.
Token man.
Token woman?
What if Dave Filoni's play is to actually revive Flight of the Conchords TV show?
I'm going to go away now.
Pulling Hollyweird to the sensible center, the mainstream middle where money is made is not easy, but folks, you make it easy to make videos each and every day, because sharing time with you is a great honor, and we never take it lightly. An attitude of gratitude every single time we have the chance to shine with you. Until the next time, we only ask that you click that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, don't worry about paying any kind of tuition for this free class and how entertainment works. You are on scholarship. Highest IQ on the internet. That's you for sure. Until the next time we have the opportunity to spend time together, folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun. Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.